Hi there guys, welcome back, and what we're going to be doing in today's lesson is talking about bends. Now this is going to be a really crucial and important part of your improvising, your skills with playing solos and riffs, because they're the most expressionate part of the guitar. Really, it's the specific thing that a lot of other instruments can't do, and it's because you can actually go through notes. Okay, so you can actually make a sound that goes between two notes and hear kind of microtones or whatever you want to call them. Just it makes it way more vocal a sound, okay, on the guitar. So today we're going to look at three different types of bends. We're going to look at a full bend, a half bend, and a quarter bend with a stop. Okay, and I'm just going to talk as we go through them where you might hear these bends and what they might be used for. So we're going to start with the full bend. The full bend sounds something like this. Okay, and it looks like that. Okay, now let me just talk about what I mean when I say full bend. What it means is we go up a tone. Okay, so on the guitar, to keep this really simple, a tone is 2 frets. So let's say I was on this 7th fret of the G string, and I was bending up a whole tone, a tone. I would go so that I'm not playing the note 1 fret above, but I'm going to be looking for the sound 2 frets above. That's 1 tone up. That's a full bend. Okay. So when I come to actually bend this note, I'm looking to bend it up to that sound. Okay. So that's your first little task, is knowing what sound you're actually trying to get. And it's that. If you're trying to bend the 7th fret up, it should sound like a tone above. Okay. So then we've got to think about what do we do on the guitar. Okay. And there's 2 ways of approaching bends, and I'm going to show you both of them, and you decide which one feels more comfortable and more natural for you. Okay, so the first way is to have the thumb at the back, like we've always talked about, okay, because that's just really good technique. With the thumb at the back, then what we do is we take the first finger and second finger and place them behind the third finger. Okay, that's really important, because that means that you've got support for your third finger when you push this up. Then you're going to really force all 3 fingers down. You're going to clamp them in with the thumb at the back, so they're both squeezing together as if you're trying to squeeze this fretboard. And then as you pluck the string, you're just going to push the string up as high as you can for now. Okay. So at first, you know, it's not going to go very far, and then just gradually just keep pushing and just keep working with it until you're starting to get it up to the point where it sounds like that. So remember, what we're looking for is the sound 2 frets up. So we play the sound 2 frets up, and then we bend up to that sound. Okay? Now, in my opinion, that's quite hard initially, but those that do get it down like that, it's really helpful technique-wise, because of course you can generally have your thumb at the back anyway. Okay? Now the other way around is to actually have the thumb over the top. It just adds more kind of leverage for when you bend it up. So everything else is the same. Your first finger and second finger are behind the third finger, but now your thumb's kind of cramped over the top, which means as you push these all down and try and bend the string up, your thumb kind of comes towards the fingers, and it feels quite natural like that. Certainly for me anyway. So when I try and bend that for me is a lot easier. Okay, but I've had lots and lots of students over the years, and I know that it's not for everyone, so decide either way, which one do you prefer at the moment. So, there we have it. Full tone bend with the thumb over the top or at the back, whatever you prefer. Either way, you're looking for this sound, and then you gradually bend up to it. Okay? Now, that's a full bend. There's also something called a half bend, which you might have guessed is just simply half of that. So you just bend up a semitone. Okay, so 1 fret. So again, we just kind of take the fret, so that's the 8th fret, we grab it. I'm going to do the thumb over the top for the moment, but remember you can do it at the back as well, and we just push it up a little bit, so nowhere near as much as it took to get the full bend. Okay, and that should give us the half bend. Okay, now the half bend is much more useful in like blues, for example, where you're going to kind of bend up to blues notes and things like that, something we'll get to later on. The full bend is much more your classic rock, pop kind of sound, because it's obvious, you know, you're going to naturally bend up a whole tone because that's the next note along in the sequence. But the half bend can really be very useful as well, and you'll see that when we look at the solo next. Now, the only other one to look at is the quarter bend for now. quarter bend with a stop. And this is what I call a question mark, okay? So basically what happens is, typically you'll use your first finger, but you can use any finger, but we're gonna practice on the first finger for now. I'm gonna go 5th fret of the G string, and the quarter bend is just a little nudge, and it's downwards rather than upwards, okay? We're gonna deliberately go downwards with it, just to separate it from the other two, okay? So I'm just gonna go down, a little nudge, okay? And then what happens is when I've just slightly done it, with the plectrum, if you look at the plectrum hand, I'm just touching the plectrum against the string and it stops it dead. Watch this. You see that? Just touched it against the string and it stopped it dead. Now, I love that sound. That's very bluesy. That's, for me, is a question mark, because let's just put that at the end of a phrase. So let's say I've gone like this. You can hear it's not resolved, it's not finished yet. It adds a question mark, which we might resolve, like that, for example. So, 3 types of bends for you. You've got full bends, where we go up 2 frets, okay? You've got a half bend, where we go up 1 fret. And you've got a quarter bends, where you just do a little nudge down and stop it with your right hand, okay? 3 types of bends to try. Obviously, the first thing you've got to get right is just the basic mechanics of it all. So, do you have your thumb over the top? Do you have the thumb at the back? Either way is absolutely fine by me, whatever you prefer. But make sure these 3 fingers are behind that 3rd finger, okay? As you build up more and more strength, we're going to be able to bend it with our 2nd finger and even our 1st finger, but we need to build up the strength like this first. So at the moment, any bends we're going to be doing really are going to be using the 3rd finger to build up the strength. So practice those, and next time we're going to do a little solo using bends.